bhāgavate-vasudevāya. Om Namo bhāgavate-vasudevāya. Om Namo bhāgavate-vasudevāya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudhirayet Nastha Prayeshu Avadreshu Nityam Bhāgavata-sevayā Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhavati Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 7. Further inquiries by Vidura. Shri Sukha Uvacha Evam Brahvana Maitreyam Dvaipayana Sutta Buddha Prinayan Iva Bharatya Vidura Pratyabhashata. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, while Maitreya, the great sage, was thus speaking, Vidura, the learned son of Dvaipayana Vyasa, expressed a request in a pleasing manner by asking this question. Vidura uvacha Brahman katah bhagavatas chinmatrasya vikarina leelaya chapi yujyayan nirgunasya gunah kriyaha. Sri Vidura said, O great Brahmana, since the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the complete spiritual whole and is unchangeable, how is he connected with the material modes of nature and their activities? If this is his pastime, how do the activities of unchangeable take place and exhibit qualities without the modes of nature? Kridayam udyamo vrbhasya kamascha chikridishan yatah swatastraptasya cha katham nivritasya sadanyata. Boys are enthusiastic to play with other boys or with various diversions because they are encouraged by desire. But there is no possibility of such desire for the Lord because He is self satisfied and detached from everything at all times. Asrakshid Bhagavan Vishwam Gunamayatma Mayaya Taya Samstapayati Etad Bhuya Pratyapi Dasyati. By his self sheltered potency of the three modes of material nature, the Lord has caused the creation of this universe. By her, he maintains the creation and conversely dissolves it again and again. Deshatah kalato yosav asa avastata svato yanyatah aviluptava bodhatma sayujyeta jaya katam. The pure soul is pure consciousness and is never out of consciousness, either due to circumstances, time, situations, dreams, or other causes. How then does he become engaged in designs? Bhagavan eka evaisha sarvakshetreshva avastitah amusya durbhagavatvam va klesho va karma bhikutah. The Lord as a super soul is situated in every living being's heart. Why then do the living entities' activities result in misfortune and misery? एतस्मिन् मे मनोविद्वन् खिद्यते ज्ञानसङ्कटे तन्नः परानुद विभो कश्मलं मानसं महत्. O great and learned one, my mind is greatly illusioned by the distress of this nescience, and I therefore request you to clear it up. श्रीसुकवाच स इत्थं चोदितक्षत्रा तत्त्वज्ञासुना मुनिः प्रत्याह भगवच्चित्तः स्मयन् इव गतस्मयः. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, Maitreya being thus agitated by the inquisitive Vidura, at first seemed astonished, But then he replied to him without hesitation, since he was fully God conscious. Maitreya uvacha seyam bhagavato maya yannayena virudhyate ishvarasya vimuktasya karpanyam uta bandhanam. Sri Maitreya said, certainly certain conditioned souls put forward the theory that the Supreme Brahman or the personality of Godhead is overcome by illusion or maya, and at the same time they maintain that he is unconditioned. This is against all logic. Yad arthena vina mushya pumsa atma viparyayah pratiyata upadrashtoho swasiras chanda chedanadikaha. The living entity is in distress regarding his self identity. He has no factual background, like a man who dreams that he sees his head cut off. यथा जले चंद्रमनसः sorry let me repeat यथा जले चंद्रमसः कंपादिस्तत् कृतो गुणः दृश्यते सन् अपि द्रष्टुर आत्मनो आत्मनो गुणः. As the moon reflected on water appears to the seer to tremble due to being associated with the quality of the water, so the self associated with matter appears to be qualified as matter. Sabai nivritti dharmena vasudevanukampaya bhagavad bhakti yogena tirodhatte sanairiha. But that misconception of self identity can be diminished gradually by the mercy of the personality of Godhead Vasudeva through the process of devotional service to the Lord in the mode of detachment. यदेन्द्रियोपरामो यथा दृष्ट्रात्मनि परे हरौ विलीयन्ते तदा क्लेशाः संसुप्तस्वे संतु संसुप्तस्य एव कृष्णशः. When the senses are satisfied in the seer's super soul, the personality of Godhead and merge in him, all miseries are completely vanquished, as after a sound sleep. अशेष संक्लेश समं विद्धते गुणानुवादा श्रवणं मुरारे किं वा पुनश्च चरणारविन्दा परागसेवा रतिरात्मलब्धा. Simply by chanting and hearing of the transcendental name, form, etc. of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one can achieve the cessation of unlimited miserable conditions. Therefore, what to speak of those who have attained attraction for serving the flavor of the dust of the Lord's lotus feet? Vidura uvacha sanchina samsayo mahyam tava suktasina vidbho ubhayatrapi bhagavan manome sampradavati. Vidura said, O powerful sage, my lord, all my doubts about the supreme personality of Godhead and the living entities have now been removed by your convincing words. My mind is now perfectly entering into them. साध्व एतद्व्याहृतं विद्वन् नात्ममाययां हरेः आभाति अपार्थ निर्मूलं विश्वमूलं न यद् बहिः. O learned sage, your explanations are very good, as they should be. Disturbances to the conditioned soul have no other basis than the movement of the external energy of the Lord. यश्च मूढात्मनो लोके यश्च बुद्धे परं गतः त्वाव उभौ सुखम एदेते क्लिश्यति अंतरितो जनः. Both the lowest of the fools and he who is transcendental to all intelligence enjoy happiness, whereas persons between them suffer the material pangs. अर्थाभावं विनिश्चित्य प्रतीतस्यापि नात्मनः तां चापि युष्मच्चरणसेवा सेवयाहं पराणुदे. But my dear sir, I am obliged to you because now I can understand that this material manifestation is without substance, although it appears real. I am confident that by serving your feet, it will be possible for me to give up the false idea. Yat sevaya bhagavata kūtastasya madhudvishah rati raso bhavet tivraha Padayor by serving the feet of the spiritual master, one is engaged to enabled to develop transcendental ecstasy in the service of the personality of Godhead, who is the unchangeable enemy of the Madhu demon and whose service vanquishes one's material distresses. दूरापाहि अल्पतपसः सेवा वैकुण्ठवर्मसु यत्रोपगीयते नित्यं देवदेवो जनार्दनः. Person whose austerity is meager can hardly obtain the service of the pure devotees who are progressing on the path back to kingdom of Godhead, the Vaikunthas. Pure devotees engage 100% in glorifying the Supreme Lord, who is the Lord of the demigods and the controller of all living entities. सृष्ट्वाग्रे महद् आदीनि स विकाराणि अनुक्रमात् तेभ्यो विराजम् उद्धृत्य tam anu pravishad vibhuhu. After creating the total material energy, the Mahat Tattva, and thereby manifesting the gigantic universal form with senses and sense objects, the Supreme Lord entered within it. Yam ahur adhyam purusham sahasranghri uro bahukam yatra vishwa ime lokaha savikasam ta asate. The Purusha incarnation lying on the causal ocean is called the original Purusha in the material creations, and his Virata form, in whom all the planets and their inhabitants live, he has many thousands of legs and hands. यस्मिन् दशविधः प्राणः सेन्द्रियार्थेन्द्रियस्त्रिवृत् त्वयेरितो यत् वर्णास् तद् विभूतिर्वदस्वनः. O great Brahmana, you have told me that the gigantic Virat form and his senses, sense objects, and 10 kinds of life air exist with 3 kinds of life vigor. Now, if you will, kindly explain to me the different powers of the specific divisions. यत्र पुत्रैश्च पौत्रैश्च न पृथ्वी सह गोत्रजैः प्रजा विचिक्रा विचित्रा sorry प्रजा विचित्राकृतया आसन् याभिर्इदं ततम्. O my Lord, I think that the process manifest in the form of sons, grandsons, and family members has spread all over the universe in different varieties and species. प्रजापतीनां सपतिः चक्ल्पेकान् प्रजापतीन् सर्गांश्चैवानुसर्गाश्च मनून् मन्वन्तरादिपान्. O learned Brahmana, please describe how the leader of the demigods, namely the Prajapati, Brahma, decide to establish the various Manus, the heads of the ages. Please describe the Manus also, and please describe the descendants of those Manus. उपर्यद्दश्च ये लोका भूमेर्मित्रात्मजासते तेषां संस्थां प्रमाणं च भूलोकस्य च वर्णय. O son of Mitra, kindly describe how the planets are situated above the earth as well as underneath it, and also please mention their measurements as well as that of the earthly planets. त्रियन्मानुषदेवानां सरीसृपपतॄणां वद नः सर्गसंव्यूहं गर्भस्वेद द्विजोभिदाम्. Also, please describe the living beings under different classifications: subhumans, humans, those born of the embryos, those born of perspiration, those who are twice born birds, and the planets and plants and vegetables. Kindly describe their generations and subdivisions also. गुणावतारैर्विश्वस्य सर्गस्थिति अप्ययाश्रयं सृजत श्रीनिवासस्य व्याचक्षो वदार vikramam. Please also describe the incarnations of the material modes of nature, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, and please describe the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his magnanimous activities. वर्णाश्रमविभागांश्च रूपशीलस्वभावता ऋषीणां जन्मकर्माणि वेदस्य च विकर्षणम्. O great sage, kindly describe the divisions and orders of human society in terms of symptoms, behavior, and characteristics of mental equilibrium and sense control. Also, please describe the birds of the great sages and the categorical divisions of the Vedas. यज्ञस्य च वितानानि योगस्य च पतः प्रभो नैष्कर्म्यस्य च सांख्यस्य तन्त्रं वा भगवत् स्मृतम्. Please also describe the expansions of different sacrifices and the paths of mystic powers, analytical study of knowledge, and devotional service, all with their respective regulations. Pashandapata Vaishamyam Pratiloma Niveshanam Jivasya Gatoyascha Yavatirguna Karmajaha. Please also describe the imperfections and contradictions of the faithless atheists, the situation of crossbreeding, and movements of the living entities in various species of life according to their particular modes of nature and work. धर्मार्थकाममोक्षाणां निमित्तानि अविरोधतः वार्ताय दण्डनीतेश्च श्रुतस्य च विधिं पृथक्. You may also describe the non-contradictory causes of religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and salvation, and also the different means of livelihood and different processes of law and order as mentioned in the revealed scriptures. श्राद्धस्य च विधिं ब्रह्मन् पित्राणां सर्गम एव च ग्रहनक्षत्रताराणां कालावयव संस्थितिं. Please also explain the regulations for offering respects to the forefathers, the creation of the Pitraloka, the time schedule in the planets, stars, and luminaries and their respective situations. दानस्य तपसो वापि यच्चेष्टा पूर्त पूर्तयोः फलं प्रवासस्तस्य यो धर्मो तश्च पुंसा utapadi. Please also describe the fruitive results of charity and penance and of digging reservoirs of water. Please describe the situation of persons who are away from home and also the duty of a man in an awkward position. येन वा भगवांस्तुष्येत् धर्मयोनिर्जनार्दनः सम्प्रसीदति वा येषाम् एतद् आख्याहि मे नगः. O sinless one, because the personality of Godhead, the controller of all living entities, is the father of all religion and all those who are candidates for religious activities, kindly describe how he can be completely satisfied. अनुवृतानां शिष्याणां पुत्राणां च द्विजोत्तमाम् अनापृष्टम् अपि ब्रूह्युर्गुरवो दीनवत्सलाः. O best among the Brahmanas, those who are spiritual masters are very kind to the needy. They are always kind to their followers, disciples, and sons, and without being asked by them, by the spiritual master, describes all that is knowledge. Tatvanam Bhagavam तत्त्वानां भगवंस्तेषां कतिदा प्रतिसङ्क्रमणः तत्रेमं क उपासीरन् कायुस्विद् अनुसेरते. Please describe how many dissolutions there are for the elements of material nature and who survives after the dissolutions to serve the Lord while he is asleep. पुरुषस्य च समस्थानं स्वरूपं वा परस्य च ज्ञानं च नैगमं यत्तद् गुरुशिष्य प्रयोजनम्. What are the truths regarding the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead? What are their identities? What are the specific values in the knowledge in Vedas? And what are the necessities for spiritual master and his disciples? निमित्तानि च तस्येह प्रोक्तानि अनघ सूरिभिः स्वतो ज्ञानं कुतः पुंसां भक्तिर्वैराग्यम् एव वा. Spotless devotees of the Lord have mentioned the source of such knowledge. How could one have knowledge of devotional service and detachment without the help of such devotees? एतान् मे पृच्छतः प्रश्नां हरेर्कर्म विवित्सया ब्रूहि मे ज्ञास्य मित्रत्वाद् अजया नष्ट चक्षुषः My dear sage, I have put all these questions before you with a view to knowing the pastimes of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the friend of all, so kindly describe them for all those who have lost their vision. सर्वे वेदाश्च यज्ञेश्च तपोदानानि चानगा जीवाभय प्रदानस्य न kurviran kalam api. O spotless one, your answers to all these questions will grant immunity from all material miseries. Such charity is greater than all Vedic charities, sacrifices, penances, etc. श्रीसुक उवाच स इत्थम् अपृष्टपुराणकल्पः कुरुप्रधानेन मुनिप्रधानः प्रवृद्धहर्षो भगवत्कथायां संचोदितस्तं प्रहसन् इवाह. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, thus the chief of the sages, who was always enthusiastic about describing topics regarding the personality of Godhead, began to narrate the descriptive explanation of the Puranas, being so infused by Vidura. He was very much enlivened by speaking on the transcendental activities of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Thus ends the seventh chapter. Further inquiries by Vidura from third canto. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So it's a delight to one who is very very inquisitive to understand what is all about, huh? The creation and the devotion and all these things. And the questions of Vidura, we are very fortunate, and we should definitely um, share our gratitude to that great personality who asked these questions, and also Maitreya Rishi who answers all these questions in the coming cantos, not just in one chapter. There is a in if someone is quite keen to know in which for which question in which canto of the chapter we get the answers, let me know. I mean, I'm not so expert in remembering, but I have this reference from the Bhagavat Subodhini in which I can share which questions are explained in which particular, yeah, cantos. Yeah. So let me start using the next 5 minutes to go through that here. Vidura is asking some of the questions, but he's already saying that I am in the previous chapter. Maitreya Rishi has already explained who is the Ishvara and who is Jiva. So Vidura is asking further questions. Vidura is saying, "Thank you very much. Whatever you have said, I could understand. You have dispelled all my questions regarding the Ishvara and Jiva." Hmm. And also in the end, he said that important is to practice bhakti. So Maitreya, being God conscious, who is Bhagavad Chitta, replied Vidura, who was inquisitive about to know the Lord. Tattva Jijñāsuna. This is what. So the first thing he is saying that some say that the Supreme Lord is overcome by illusion, and yet he is unconditioned. Yeah? Overcome by illusion means conditioned. But again, they say that Lord is unconditioned. So this is against all logic. Oh, can you hear me? Okay. Let me know if I have to repeat something. I've just connected. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Network is
Just
fine.
few seconds flicker. It's okay now.
Okay. And then Maitreya Rishi is saying, distress of the living entity is due to the misidentification alone. This is also what in the previous chapter he was saying the Jiva is under the modes of nature, where mode of passion in the combination is causing him to be in behave like that in ignorance. So all these things are explained in the form in the previous chapter. So there is no factual background to it, just as one sees his head cut off in a dream. So this misidentification is because the distress of living entity is coming because we identify. How to understand this is in the next example. Just as the moon reflected on water appears to tremble, yeah, the the self associated with matter appears to be qualified as matter. So as soon as when we associate ourselves with material attributes, which could be name, fame, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. Yeah, these are three things. Yeah, these three things are matter. One way say that Okay, Sundari is a Jiva Shakti, right? So we can say that, okay, but we are not talking about the that. What we are saying is the attribute what we are giving to a form as a brilliance, as a beauty, that is which is material. Yeah, we are seeing on a material beauty, that's why it is matter. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janmani janmanishware, bhavatat bhaktir ahaitukitvaye. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Shikshashtakam, we see that we should be careful with this because when we see them, we start attributing with them. Which means when I'm seeing a beautiful person, yeah, a handsome boy or a beautiful girl, that which I'm seeing material causes me a desire that may I also look like that. So I start imitating or I start making myself more prominent because out of envy or whatever. All this is material. That is the reason why one is stuck. And what is the solution? Solution is mentioned that that misconception of self identity can be diminished by what? Vasudevanukampaya, by the mercy of Vasudeva. And how can one do? When one engages in devotional service. Bhagavat Bhakti Yogena, in the mode of what? Nivritti Dharmena. So, when we are practicing bhakti, we should always understand, am I really practicing real bhakti? Or is it that I am practicing something and in the disguise of bhakti? So accordingly one is rewarded. Hmm? Vasudeva Anukampa, the mercy of Vasudeva is definitely there. But it is not serious. That's why it says 100% of if a person is 100% devotee, then he is going to achieve that. Service vanquishes miseries. When the senses are engaged in the service of Lord Hari, all the miseries are vanquished. We usually are in that uh, catch 22 situation, catch 20, yeah, situation where if I invest time in bhakti, who is going to solve my problems? And whereas the scriptures are saying, okay, you take take seriously into bhakti so that Lord will anyway take care of them. But because of faith, which is not firm, that's why what happened is we are in between. I think that sloka also comes, I think 19 or no, before, I'll let you know. So, and the process of attaining such a wonderful state of bhakti is through what is mentioned. Asesha Sanklesha Samam Vidate Vidatte Gunanuvada Shravanam Murare Kimva Punascha Charnaravinda Paraga Seva Ratir Atma Labdha. He says, the chanting, hearing and chanting the Lord's qualities vanquishes all material miseries. Through sadhana bhakti, we can attain that. So that's why, though we may not have so serious faith in Krishna straight away that we are giving up everything, of course, do we want to give or not? And yeah, but what we can do is we can bring what is this hearing and chanting, Shravanam and Kirtanam in our process. Through that, what happens is Gunanuvada Shravanam Murare, not any Shravanam, not any kirtanam, but about Murare, about the Lord, then it will remove all the miseries. What to speak of those who attain attraction for serving the lotus feet of. Uh, so, just sadhana bhakti itself can remove all miseries. What to talk about bhava bhakti? Means spontaneous love for the Lord, through which one is so much attached that they cannot live without serving the Lord. For them, there is no question of miseries at all. Hmm? So, saying so, Vidura appreciated Maitreya that you have answered such a way that all my doubts are just cleared. All my doubts about the Lord and the Jiva have been cut off by the weapon of your convincing words, and the mind is entering them. So, yeah, you have accurately explained that the disturbance of Jiva uh, have no other basis than the Lord's external energy. So, which means the Jiva is suffering because of the material energy. But of course, the material energy is not imposed by the Lord on the Jiva unwantedly or desirably. It is that the Jiva is desiring that he want to enjoy or Lord over separately. That's why the energy of the Lord is facilitating to be like that. And 17th verse is what I was mentioning. Is it is said that both the lowest of the fools, means that pakka atheists, and the liberated among liberated, who are your gyanis and yogis, For them there is no problem. Why? Because for them they can extract happiness because of their state. A foolish person doesn't care whether he is following rules and regulations, so whatever he is experiencing he thinks it's wonderful. Whereas the liberated enjoys also. Why? Because he understands that he have to be careful with matter, and as long as he is not in contact with the material activities, so he knows he is happy. But it is said who is not happy is, whereas the persons who are in between actually they suffer, which means one who is neither two extremes. Yeah, there is one which is yeah, a foolish, a mad person. He is always happy because he is not considering what is right, what is wrong. So that's why whatever experiences that he will have is only happiness. And then it says that I am convinced that this material manifestation is without substance, but I will realize this only by serving your lotus feet. So here, how to get that understanding that this material world has nothing to offer for our happiness, real happiness, is by rendering service to the Lord. And this verse 19, I mean, 18 and 19 are very nice. Artha bhavam vinishchasya pratita pratitapas sorry pratitasyapi natmanah tam chapi yushmascharana sevayaham para paranude. So sevaya is very important. By the service of a devotee, a spiritual master, one can understand this, that the nature of matter is dangerous, um, and we should actually engage in the service of the Lord. It says in the next one, serving the spiritual master, yat sevaya bhagavata kutas tasya madhu dvisham rati raso bhavet tirvraha padayor vyasanardhanaha. He says that there are two benefits of serving the spiritual master. What is that? One develops transcendental ecstasy in Lord's service in various relationships, rati rasaha, and dispels all material distress. So two things happen at same time. One is that we are enjoying the taste of rendering service to the Lord that pleases Him, plus at the same time, because our activities are absorbed in that, whatever material distresses that are coming cannot touch us. Because of that, yeah, vyasanardhanaha, we are one is freed from that. And how to do that? I mean, what is that? Person whose austerity is meager can hardly obtain the service of the pure devotees who constantly glorify the Lord and are on the platform on the path of Vaikuntha. So it is not so easy to get service. Yeah, it is said that oh, service can help us two way, but to get service is not easy. So we should be very careful. It says, durapa हि अल्प तपसा सेवा वैकुंठ वर्त्मषु यत्रोपगीयते नित्यं देव देव Janardana. It's not easy to get the service of the Lord. And why? After creating the Mahatattva, Lord, who is Karanadakashayi Vishnu, entered the universe as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu and manifested the Virat Roop in which all planets exist. And after that, when this point came, when Maitreya Rishi is telling, explaining that the Lord is not so easy to understand, uh, then immediately because of the description of the creation came, Vidura started asking a series of all these questions. He started asking the Vibhuti of the Lord, what is that? All the Brahma has created, all that Brahma has created, explain about that, explain about Manus, descendants of Manus, different planets and their situations, according even measurements, yeah, categories of living beings and their generations and subdivisions. Then guna avatars, varnashrama, yoga, yajna, jnana, sankhya, as well as Narada Pancharatra Vidhi. What is that? And four purusharthas, death rites. What is Pitros and constellations, arrangements and divisions of time, charity, austerity, sacrifice, duties in different situations, how to completely satisfy the Supreme Lord. Huh? And he further, Vidura is saying, spiritual masters are kind to needy and they describe all knowledge without being asked. Huh? How many material resolutions exist and who survives after it to serve the Lord while he is asleep? It is not that, okay, everything is brought to rest during the unmanifested form. There are also some who are there. How many material dissolutions exist and who serves after that? What is truths of of Jiva and Ishvara? Explain that. And it says, how could one have knowledge of devotional service and detachment without help of spotless devotees who are the source of knowledge? So, without a guru, it's impossible. This is what Vidura is saying. Yeah, it's not like, okay, in Kali Yuga, there are some who are just coming up saying, hey, guru is a nice position, let's take that, and we need Sishas, so let's ask for that. It's not like that. Um, I asked all these questions with a view to know the pastimes of Hari. That should be the interest. That should be the interest, that whenever we are asking, we want to know more and more about the Lord. When we know more and more about the Lord, all other things are anyway conveyed to us. Yeah, you can have a, you can have your own practical, no, prac- you can experiment this on your own self. Yeah, your dealings. The more and more you know about the Lord, the less and less you're interested to know all those material questions, desires, and all those things. And I asked all these questions with a view to know the pastimes of Hari. So kindly describe them for all of those who have lost their vision. So Vidura is asking these questions for the benefit of not just him, but for all of us. Uh, so we may ask these questions to know more, but let if we know answers for these questions, we are already blessed. So that's why, strictly speaking, this should encourage us to have regular contact with Bhagavatam. Yeah, hear regularly Bhagavatam. The greatest welfare activity, it is said, is Sarve Vedascha Yagnescha Tapo Danani Chanaga Jivabhaya Pradhanasya Na Kurviram Kalam Api. Is saying your answers will grant immunity from all material miseries. And this charity is greater than all charities, sacrifices, and penances, etc. So, after this, Maitreya felt extremely enlivened, and because he is so extremely enlivened, he is going to speak Bhagavatam further. So many cantos where we are going to be blessed if we are following to what Maitreya Rishi is saying. And the next chapter is already, it says, manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodaka Vishnu. Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, how did Brahma comes? We can see that there is some kind of small repetition, but we can hearing from Maitreya Rishi now. And in this connection, um, there is this. What are the benefits of Bhagavatam? Uh, this and anyway, other points, all those will be clarified. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Again, I haven't touched much from the purports, so encourage everyone. So please take time if you can um, to refer them, because I was just skimming from the very surface of this chapter. In fact, these are the questions that are very nice. If someone is very inquisitive, you may see these questions are already not something new. These have been asked, yeah, we're talking about at least 5,000 years back. Actually, next chapter is going to tell how the Bhagavatam even came, who spoke to whom, or what is Bhagavatam Parampara, etc. But this means that we can understand, we can gauge the quality of Srimad Bhagavatam or Sanatana Dharma or Vedic and Vedanta understanding is by the quality of questions that are asked, and the quality of answers that are given, and the quality of the persons who are being asked, and who is the one who is asking. That should help us. It is not that one is anyway. uh, uh, I mean, I just want to highlight that. So this helps us to see what is the position of this Srimad Bhagavatam, and by taking shelter of Bhagavatam, we are rest assured that we can attain ultimate goal of our life. Yep. Hare Krishna. Anyone thoughts or questions, or we can close?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the narration and explanation. One thing has came into my mind, like all these questions asked by Vidura to Maitreya Rishi, and Vidura being the most learned person and also a great devotee. Uh, It's something unusual that Vidura does not know all these things, but still he is asking the questions, and his surrender and dependence to Maitreya Rishi
Hmm. Yeah,
is like to teach us like how
yeah.
is it like
It's
that?
it's that, but it also is that it's not easy to assimilate the subjects, transcendental subjects. Just okay, it's not like okay, even if one goes to Gurukul, he learns. He yeah, if you know in Gurukul, Vedas are recited and marked up, right? There is a whole process how you learn everything to appreciate the greatness, but still the intricacies can always be there that we can never say that I know everything. Yeah. So these questions I can understand from here is that Vidura, for one reason, is that he got a very qualified teacher who he can ask these questions, who is a devotee and who is knowledgeable. This is one. Second thing is, yeah, there is no saturation to hear about Hari. This is Hari Katha. Yeah, this is what. So we can see there is on one side some kind of, maybe I call it as a dry subject, yeah, where it's more about creation, but they don't see that is also dry because it's connected with the Lord. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the more and more they can hear, the more and more you are able to see the greatness of the Lord, and then more and more you can remember them and pray. Yeah. So the devotees having these questions is not wrong, or having these questions again and again is also not an issue. Yeah. What should happen is eventually this is what happens from the third canto till 11th canto. So we are the answers that we are getting from Bhagavatam is highlighting how a devotee can hook on to the spiritual subject. This is what will happen. Yep. Yep.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
then we'll close it here. Thank you so much. Vanchakalpatarabhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna.